What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Daily Grind. I'm your host, 30NSG, and on today's show, we're going to be talking about a couple different topics. We're going to be talking about Halo Infinite 2 game. Was in development before being canceled. We'll talk about that. We're going to talk about Concord continues to get updates on Steam. We're going to talk about Xbox will sell games directly to Android app. And then we're going to be talking about Xbox Cloud Gaming will let you stream your own games in November. And then if we have time, we're going to watch and cover the game, what's it called? Thrones and Liberty. Skill Up Austin on Skill Up's channel, his editor, had a video about his review of Thrones and Liberty, so we'll talk about that a little bit as well. If you guys like what I do here, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning to about noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. We are going to try, well, not actually try something new. I'm going to try to make something a little bit, but people are members, right? So, not that I'm not going to not read non-member chat, obviously. I'm going to read everyone's chat, but people that are members, I'm going to read their chat. They're going to get priority, right? Because we don't do very much rewards on this channel for members. It's just like members are like, yeah, I'm a member. I want to help the channel out and whatnot. So we're gonna, because we don't do extra streams, we don't do any kind of extra content for members. So we'll give you priority when I'm reading the chat and stuff. But I'm still gonna read everyone's chat. Just that people that are members, they get priority of their chat to be read. So how's everyone doing? It's been God, it feels like a week. I have this one little hair right here. This. What's happening there? It's almost a week. We got hit with the hurricane last week. We had a little bit of damage, water damage, outside. We have a bathroom out in the back, like on our patio that got flooded, and then we also got our front room flooded as well. So still dealing with that to this day. And then just cleanup was a bitch. Other than that, everyone's safe. Everyone's good. Looking forward to the next one. Not really. So there's a lot of people I know that are still out of power. There's still people that had major issues with flooding and stuff in their houses over in Tampa. From Tampa to where I am in Orlando. Yeah, it's pretty stressful, Travis. It's pretty stressful. But it is what it is. What's going on, Roic? What's going on, Travis? What's going on, Eclipse? Wonder Rose, good morning. Good Papa, good morning. All right. I got a hard out today at 12:30 because I got a my son's off from school today, and he's also got a doctor's appointment today. So I gotta make sure I'm done and eat before we take him to the doctor. Oh, my son's school, the road out in front of the school, completely got washed away. So there's no way to get the cars into the school to drop them off from one section of the road. So now I got to go around BFE. Okay, I got to go literally like 7 minutes to 10 minutes out of my way to get to the other road to come around to enter from another exit. So it's done some damage to a lot of things. So that'll be interesting for the next however months because they have to rebuild the road. What's going on, Haley? Yeah, so that'll be fun. Pick up your, because the main road in front of it's gone. So now I don't know how we're getting in and how pickup and stuff's gonna work. It's gonna be a nightmare for I don't know how long. All right, let's start off. Tuesday, either Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm not sure yet. Kingard's gonna come back on the show. We're going to talk to Kingard. He wants to talk about Halo, about Ubisoft. He reached out to me. He's like, 30, I would like to come on the show. We got to talk. I said, all right, let's do it. So we're either going to do Tuesday night, because I might have another guest on Wednesday. But if we don't have a guest on Wednesday, then we're going to do it on Wednesday. So either Tuesday or Wednesday, Kingard will be on the show just chatting with Kingard. What's going on, Jason? Good morning. More cats. What's going on? Yeah, we lost internet and power. I could not contact anybody. So Sarge reached out on Discord to let you guys know I was okay. Just Hilly with the membership. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate that, Just Hilly. Appreciate the continued support. I thought you were already a member, Hilly. I'm confused. Why does it say new member? Didn't you just re-up last week? I'm confused. Either way, I appreciate it very much. Thank you very much. Oh, your payment needed updated. Got it. Got it. Let's talk about the first story, right? Last week we talked about how Halo was switching over to the Unreal Engine, and people were all excited, and people on the internet started getting all like, oh my God, they're doing it, and super exciting. And then people are talking about how they need to completely change Halo, and I stay exactly the same, right? I stay exactly the same. Halo needs to be Halo. When you start venturing off from what you were known for and changing into other things, that is when the problem happens. Case in point. Okay? When you play games like World of Warcraft, and World of Warcraft makes more World of Warcraft, it works. When you change the landscape of what it is, okay, then it changes the format, and then people stop playing your game, okay? Now, obviously, Halo today is different than Halo back in 2001 when it first graced us with its presence back then. Completely different landscape in the gaming genre, okay? Before Halo was what we know what Halo is. Halo was just a brand new game that came out that wasn't RTS, that got turned into a first-person shooter, okay? Was a Mac game, came over, and then became a Microsoft property with Bungie, and it was awesome. It was awesome back then, okay? Halo was known for its gunplay. Halo was known for its campaign. Halo was known for the PvP aspect of it because it was just fun. We used to have LAN parties and all this other stuff, and then Halo became this massive entity of one of my first gigs I ever worked for in the industry when I worked in the film industry was doing Major League Gaming, okay, and being a camera operator for these events. And seeing, I was like, what the hell is this? I was like, I thought Halo was just, sawing Smash Brothers and Halo and how they were just making it into this massive esports type of thing. And ever since then, they always try to up themselves. And in my opinion, they kind of lost themselves along the way, right? Each one better, but let less than the last one because they tried to make it more of that PvP stuff, right? And then when Infinite came out, before Infinite came out years ago, I said that they're going to try to make Halo Infinite into Destiny. And they didn't, but they did. Because behind the scenes, they were trying to do stuff, but then they canceled it behind the scenes. And then also, they had a 10-year plan. They wanted to make a live service game. They wanted to make all this stuff. But then they lost its identity of what Halo was. And then, even though people like it, people love it, they're like, oh, it's great. It's great now, 3 years later. But it wasn't great when it came out 3 years ago. Okay? It lost its identity. So much so that Microsoft abandoned it off the box. Okay? Put Starfield in the box because Halo is not that franchise anymore. Okay? So here's an article that says Halo Infinite 2 was in development before being canceled. It's claimed. Okay? That word here. Let me highlight it for some of you just in case that it's claimed. Claimed. Okay? Rumored. It's claimed. Okay? 343 Industries, now Halo Studios, was working on a sequel to Halo Infinite, according to a new claim. Halo Infinite 2 was in development before it was ultimately canceled. Okay? I think it's funny because why make a Halo Infinite 2 when your original plan for Halo Infinite was to make it a live service game? Right? That's what I have a question about, chat. Why tell us that Halo Infinite had a 10-year plan, but then you were already working on Halo Infinite 2? Okay? Like, the word infinite means that you could have just taken Halo Infinite and kind of went on forever. Okay? Rebs Gaming, who has been the forefront of Halo coverage, says that Halo Infinite 2 was in development on the Slipspace engine that was developed for the first Infinite game. And that development, he said, continued until the leadership changed in late 2022, where the decision was made that the move the franchise to Unreal Engine 5, and that led to the cancellation of Halo Infinite 2 on Slipspace. Now, again, it's claimed, and I'm going to take a little liberty here to talk about what I think was happening here. I don't think it was Halo Infinite 2. I just think it was the continuation of Halo Infinite, which we know there's reports that they had where they had maps and stuff that were completed, but they didn't continue with Halo Infinite. So it'll be interesting to see what Kinger thinks. We'll talk about a lot of Halo with him when he comes on the show. Okay, so the leadership changed. Okay, and then 343 creative team spent a few months learning about the Unreal Engine 5 to prepare for the next project, Reb said. Now, the latest until January 2023, when Microsoft let off the significant amount of 343 employees, including the entire creative team. I mean, can I give a round of applause? That's probably the best thing they've decided to do, was finally take accountability and say, hey, look, we probably have to clean house here because the people that are working on the game are just not seeing the vision of what Halo was. And then last week when we showed the video for the new Halo Studios and they're talking about the Unreal Engine and what they're doing there, they talked about how they're bringing people on. That was a big advertisement for, hey, you like Halo? You want to come work for Halo? Right? Come to Halo Studios. What do you guys do here? We make Halo. Okay? Like, they're trying to get everyone and anyone that's passionate about Halo to come work on the Halo game. Okay? So they cleaned house, supposedly. Okay? We'll see what happens down the road. But it was added, it was unclear that the next mainline Halo game is Halo Infinite 2, but the Unreal Engine 5 or different game altogether. Now, the report also mentioned that the campaign team that was also let go never felt support by the new leadership at the studio. The campaign team felt trapped in a bubble without studio-wide collaboration and clarity about what was happening at the studio, and if this plans was for the future, he said. Here's what I think happened, right? So I think the people that were working on Halo Infinite were like, this is it. We got the Slipspace engine. We're moving forward. We're making Halo Infinite. We're going to make it like Destiny. It's going to be a live service game. It's going to constantly be evolving. And then they were like, yeah, this ain't it, right? They made the problem, and then they also made the solution. The problem was that nobody cared or gave a shit, same thing, about the Halo franchise. They're like, what about if we just, we're at a low point here, so why don't we just change engines? And then there's two sides. There's the people working on the Subspace engine, still working on Halo Infinite, and then there's the new people that are working on the Unreal Engine for Halo in the future. So, like, who are you going to give money to? Who are you going to support? The people working on the old Slipspace engine that has nothing to do, or they have no future going forward, or the new Unreal Engine 5 that you're investing a lot of money into and time for your future projects? Well, now there's a divide, right? Now there's the people working on Halo Infinite that are like, we're not being supported. And then there's the people making the new Halo moving forward, okay? It was added to the campaign content was possibly being outsourced with no replacement team being created. Insider Gaming has also reached out to Halo Studios for comment on this report. It says, what do you think about the Halo Infinite 2 being canceled to move to Unreal Engine 5? Again, I don't think there should be a Halo Infinite 2. I think there should have just been Halo Infinite and constantly made expansions or whatever else you wanted, right? Sort of like what Destiny did. I don't want Halo to be Destiny, but what I'm saying is about expansions and stuff. You could have had Halo Infinite and then The Dark Below, House of Wolves, like Destiny's. I've talked about this years and years ago. Destiny should drop the number. Destiny should have never went to Destiny 2. They should have just went Destiny and then whatever the expansion was. That's what Halo needs to do, right? Stop this Halo Infinite 2 and 3 and 4 and all this other stuff. Just make the game and then continue adding to the game, right? But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Let me know in the live chat. What do you guys think of the Halo Infinite 2 speculation? Do you think it's true? Do you think that's what they're doing? Let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know in live chat. If you like what I do here, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as low as $5. I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, let's see. Tilly says, Halo, Halo, Halo. Travis says, I gotta love how they think changing the name will make a difference. The problem with 343 isn't the name, is they don't make a good product and never have. Right, their best thing, Travis, their best 343 Halo game is worse than the worst Bungie Halo game. Why is there war in Warcraft? Because they want to be. It's called partycraft. Partycraft. That's what they should call it, Ron. Go on, Kylo. Hilly says, I don't believe this. More likely had more content to add to Infinite, but they are now moving to Engine. Right. I think they just completely uplifted the entire... Look, and this happens all the time, right, Hilly? I mean, let's just look at ourselves when we're at home doing something. We're like, I want to expand the house, or I want to put a deck on the house, or I want to do something to the house. And then you're all gung-ho about it, and then all of a sudden, plans change. Something happens. You didn't get the raise at work. You didn't do something. Maybe you figured out something else. Things change. And I'm okay with things changing, right? But they had all their eggs in the basket going, Halo Infinite, moving forward. Remember when they said Halo will not make or break the franchise? Okay, Halo Infinite will not make or break the franchise. And they're correct. They're correct. It's so big and so well received. Even the shittier versions. Halo is a billion-dollar, IP. Billion-dollar IP. And that is the best thing about the franchise. Television show, cartoon, whatever. They can make it, and it would, if done well, it will be well. Unlike the Halo show that they created, right? But they've changed. They're like, we had all these plans for Halo Infinite, and they're like, let's scrap that and let's go with the Unreal Engine, right? So now their plans change from what they thought they were going to do with Halo Infinite, and now speculatively, obviously we're talking speculations here. Now they're making that whole plan over here on the Slipspace engine and moving it over now to the Unreal Engine 5. Kylo says, what do you do at the Halo studio? Oh, well, you just ruin Halo again, per usual. Yeah. What are you guys working on? Where do you work? I work at Halo Studios. What are you guys working on? We're working on Halo. Oh, I didn't know that. How am I supposed to know? Yeah. Where do you work? Travis says, I think Halo is a cash cow, and that's all Microsoft cares about. Does it draw money? That's all it will ever be. But let's be honest, Travis. Isn't that what any business does with any brand? Like be honest. Like, someone's not making glazed donuts at the donut shop as the most donuts made because it's not the best-selling donut. Do you know what I mean? To say, like, well, Dunkin' Donuts is just making glazed donuts because they just know it's a cash cow. Like, yeah. At the end of the day, this is a business, and they're taking certain IPs and brands to make money. That's what they do. Right? If I was a smart YouTuber, which I'm not, okay, I would make video after video after video of talking shit about a certain game or a certain topic, and I would just milk that dry so I could raise my YouTube channel up because I want money, right? That's what any business would do, right? You look at the stuff, oh, well, this is making us the most money. Well, let's make more of that. Kylo says, they said Halo, in its roots, is a competitive game. Yeah, that helped grow the game, but it's also about having fun in the couch and the buddies playing the epic campaign and badass Master Chief. Yeah, when they said it was the competitive game and that's what made Halo Halo, I think that's the people that really don't understand what Halo is. Okay? Sure. Like, playing Halo PvP-wise, not MLG, right? They're speaking MLG, okay? But that's not what made Halo Halo. What made Halo Halo... There's people moving television sets, okay, bringing their box and cables and television sets to other people's houses, okay? It was the fun part of playing the PvP with friends or the campaign with friends, right? Think about that for a second. There's people that won't move to the living room to play a game nowadays, where they were moving their entire game setup to their friend's house or a school or a church so they could play competitively, okay, in PvP. But it was because of just having fun, doing stuff. We talk about this all the time, right? We talk about this all the time, Kylo. All of these brands, Call of Duty, Battlefield, Halo, they've lost their identity of what made them what they made them, okay? And they think, oh, well, this is what made us. No, you have no idea, right? They have no idea. They think it was like the competitiveness. No, it was the fun factor of playing PvP that made Halo Halo. Gwen says 343 has been a disaster to the Halo franchise. I don't know. I don't want to say disaster, because we can go look at the numbers and it's not a disaster. It's still here. If it was a disaster, it'd be Concord, right? Now, Concord wasn't around long enough, and it's coming back, right? I said it was coming back. They're not going to let it go. But what I'm saying is, if it was such a disaster, then it wouldn't be here in 2024. The video to me was a classic case of one step towards the two steps back. Oh, yeah. It's the Paula Abdul effect. Was it 2 steps forward, 3 steps back? The video with the cat? On Steam, it's 4,000. I'm pretty sure that Xbox, they have over 25,000 a day. But here's the thing. Right? I'm just going to toss it out the window, because I know Gwen's saying that it's only got 4K players. You're saying it's got 4K players on Steam. That means absolutely nothing to me. Nothing to me, right? We don't know the numbers for Xbox, right? We know no numbers for Xbox. So bringing up numbers and talking about, well, this is how many, it means absolutely nothing. You know what means something? The amount of money that they create, which we don't know, has to be more than we think it is, because otherwise the game would be done, right? But they're making money. If it's off microtransactions, the battle passes that that doesn't expire, if it's the landscape of Game Pass, there are people playing because they didn't buy the game, but they're playing Game Pass, so they're paying the $20 a month, the $10 a month, the $15 a month, right? They're making money somewhere, right? So I'm not going to sit here and argue with you if 4,000 is low or not. Steam is Steam. Xbox is Xbox. You're going to be able to play Halo from your cell phone and buy games from which we'll talk about in a second, right? It's all over the place, right? Opposites attract, Dan. That's right. Okay, so to come up and say, well, it's only 4,000 people playing, fantastic, right? There's a number out there that they're hitting constantly, and they're happy with it. Maybe they're not ecstatic about it, but there's a whole player base that's playing Halo every single day. I haven't touched it. Why? Because when it came out, it was a broke, buggy, unfinished game, and I moved on to other games. Ray says PvP is really hard now because parents purchase $10,000 home cinema, but they're 24/7 watching Netflix on it. Kids need a TV in the room for this reason. You completely took that completely different, Ray. I was like, where's he going with this? I was like, so you're saying Halo is suffering and PvP is suffering because the parents are buying television sets for the living room and not for their kids. There's more people playing video games than ever before, but you're blaming the parents buying $10,000 home cinema systems? Okay. I didn't see that happening. Go on, Hemi. I mean, my son plays most of his games on an iPad. That's not a system, but he plays it. He moves. It boggles my mind. He'll play his Xbox games on his iPad. He'll play his Xbox games on the television set. He'll play his Xbox games and he'll move over to the PC. Like he'll play wherever he can play. So I don't know if that's a big thing. Go on, Argus. Argus says also, what's up, Mike? Chat. Hope the house's property are still pristine condition. They're not. They're not. Yeah, my front porch. Not really a porch. It's like my house was built in 1942. It's all cinder block, right? So the house, it's got this like front part that used to be like a sunroom or whatever that they added onto the house. Well, the water seeped in underneath the cinder block and like started drenching the rug and stuff in the front room. So it's been drying out since Thursday. We got it down to a where it's not drenched anymore. We got more of that. What do you call it? The stuff that sucks up the moisture. I forget what it's called. Gwen says more players equals more money at the end of the day. Sure, but you got to remember, Xbox and Microsoft are doing a completely different plan. Okay, they don't care about selling the individual software. They're trying. Obviously, they want people to buy the games, but they're also Game Pass is the main draw for them. They're trying to get Game Pass. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter if the person's coming on Game Pass to play Halo, Starfield, Sea of Thieves, Forza. If it's for independent games, they don't care, right? That's the number that they care about, is that Game Pass numbers combined with the people buying numbers, people comparing or buying battle passes and season passes and microtransactions. That's their ecosystem now. It's not just one or the other. Travis says kids are smart. They go, wait, Dad, took my system from my cell phone. Right. Yep. Oh, we had a lot of cleanup. A lot of trees fall down. We had a tree. Actually, our biggest damage that we have is the water came down the pasture where the cows are, and it just wiped out the back driveway to get to the back entrance to where the cows can go into. That road is completely gone. We got a 6 foot deep, 3 feet to 10 feet wide in sections, completely gone. It just washed away into the lake. So now we have to figure out something to put back over there, and we have to, move the water. Yeah, so that was the biggest damage, and then we had a massive tree fall down. We lost some orange trees and stuff like that. Lots of cleanup. Yeah, well, Activision was one of the other pieces, right? I've said in the past, and I know you're new in my channel, I've said in the past, you can go watch some videos. I've talked about what their strategy is with what I think their strategy is, which has turned out to be the strategy. When I said that they didn't buy it for Call of Duty, they bought it for the mobile division. They've also bought it where they're going to try to make most of their games from Battle.net and move it over to Game Pass, which they're already already doing that. StarCraft is coming onto Game Pass PC. We have Diablo PC. You have Call of Duty on Game Pass. I said that they're going to bring World of Warcraft. I mean, all of this stuff is going to happen. It's going to take time, but it's going to happen because look, think about all the people that are playing World of Warcraft right now. Still, okay, it might not be what it was back in the heyday, but there's still millions, tens of millions of people playing World of Warcraft. If they take World of Warcraft and they add that to Game Pass, that's everyone that's paying $15 a month or whatever it is that they're paying to play World of Warcraft, okay, from Battle.net. They just move that and they move it over to Game Pass. That is 20 million people just to play that one game that were paying $15 a month. Now they can just pay Game Pass and get that game on top of all these other games. Ray says, I'm on Game Pass, And funny enough, I don't feel any attachment to any Xbox first-party games. So when Xbox makes deals to get fun and unique experiences, I'm so happy. The Mana games were surprised. And that's just it, right? They don't... Everyone's... Not myself, right? Because I've stood on this, and everyone thinks, oh, you're an Xbox. I'm like, I'm just a business person. I see what they're doing, right? They don't care if you're coming to play Starfield, or if you're coming to play Mana, or if you're coming to play Sea of Thieves, or you're coming to play Tunic, right? They don't care. They just want more games, more places, more money, right? That's it. They leave that more money part out of it, right? But that's it. More games for more players in more places, okay? Right? And that's what they want. They want to get more money from all the people. So if there's a small little group of people that want to play this game over here and it's on Game Pass, then they come over here, right? If there's another little niche market over here and it's on Game Pass, those people can come over here. That's what they're looking for. That's what they want. Nate says, this is why I stay in Wisconsin, where the worst it gets is a tornado. I can't remember when Milwaukee actually had one touchdown. Other towns in Wisconsin get them. Yeah, but you guys get, look, wherever you are in the world, you're getting blizzards, tornadoes, mudslides, fires, hurricanes. Here's the one thing that I can see coming, right? A hurricane I can see coming. You don't know when a blizzard's coming. I mean, you can see a snowstorm, but you don't know it's going to be a blizzard. You know a hurricane's going to be a hurricane. You know the intensity of the hurricane. You know exactly a hurricane's coming. So you, as a person in Florida or anywhere on the coast that gets hit by a hurricane, can get in a car way ahead of time and leave the path of the hurricane to save your family, okay? Your house might be gone, right? But you know it's coming. You can prepare for it. You can't prepare for earthquakes. You can't prepare for mudslides or flooding or anything like that. You can't, right? Hurricane, I can see days in advance going, here it comes. That's the worst part. That's the worst part of a hurricane. The anticipation of the hurricane coming and the news channels constantly putting this dramatic music in the background. Dun, 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 dun. It's Hurricane Milton, update at 11. Dun, 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 dun. It's like, bro, like, let's settle it down a little bit. Can we? Like, all these news channels make it so much. I watch this guy, Ryan Hall, y'all, okay, who just gives the weather. He's not putting music behind it and dramatic. He's like, there's going to be a storm coming to you. If you're in this area, you might want to bunker down, right? Here comes the thing. Here it is. Right, Z? It's crazy. You could die. It's coming for you. It's like, why don't you? I'm not asking for like little dainty music in the background, like la 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 la. We're getting the next Milton update at 11. Stay tuned. But they make it. Why? It's money. It's all money. Viewership is up. We can watch this. More advertisements. Yeah, 12 to 18 hours of scare tactics. I've been in Orlando for 12 years, and every year, the biggest storm in history is coming. That's right. That's right. I'm in the same place. I'm in Orlando. They tell you all the time, this is the big one. Uh-huh. I've been here almost my entire life. I moved here when I was 4 years old to Florida, right? I went through Andrew. Andrew was fucking crazy, okay? But I was too young to actually to realize what was happening. Hilly says 100%. We had a weather bomb last year. Yep, it rained. Oh my God, Z. Right? The entire thing, right? Leading up to the hurricane, leading up to hitting Tampa. Okay? Soon as the Tampa Bay Stadium got destroyed, like the roof got destroyed, that's all they talked about. They didn't talk about anything else, what was going on in other different sections or counties. They just talked about, oh boy, look at the devastation of the Tropicana field, right? And anybody from Florida knows that that stadium was a piece of shit to begin with, right? I bet you the owner was probably thinking, it'd be sure nice if they destroyed this so we can get some funding, right? Probably really excited that the roof got ripped off because they were looking for a new stadium anyway. Travis says, bro, the weather in the most news is this was the fucking bomb dropping in Cleaverville for a few seconds. This place was Armageddon. That's what they do. All right, let's move on over to the next story over here. Concord. Speaking of disasters, okay, we did a video about a month ago when they canceled it, and I said in that video, you can go watch that video. I believe it's, let me see. It was a month ago. It's this one right here. They're saying they're pulling it down and look. Yeah. From a month ago. I don't actually get the date I did. September 3rd. Right? On September 3rd, in this video, I talk about how I believe that Concord is not dead. Okay? They pulled Concord from the actual thing, but Concord itself is not dead. I said they put way too much money into it. It's a live service game, one of the 6 games that they wanted to do in the first 2-3 years. I said they'll take it down, try to refix it, and then put it back out as a free-to-play game, right? So, from that, here we are, October 10th. So about almost a month and a half later, Concord continues to get updates on Steam. If you guys like what I do here, we just bring up articles, have conversations, give you my thoughts and opinions. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Okay? Concord continues to get updates on Steam. So Concord may be offline, but it doesn't appear fully dead just yet. If you haven't checked out Concord's Steam DB page this week, you'll likely miss it. That it was also continued to have various updates on Steam. But why would anyone go to check it out? Let's be honest, right? Let's be honest. Why would anyone go and be like, you know what? Game's dead. Let me go check out see what their Steam numbers are. Okay. Over the last few weeks, there have been multiple delays, updates, or daily updates to the game on Steam since October 6th. And the game has seen 20 updates on Steam by various users, such as PM Test, Sony K Shipping, and Sony K. Okay. It's unknown what these updates are exactly, but there are rumors that the game could be looking to re-release as a free-to-play title. Say it ain't so. Say it ain't so. Okay, so Concord launched at the end of August, less than 700 players on Steam, while reporting selling just 25,000 copies across PC and PlayStation 5, just 2 weeks after it launched. And the game was shut down by Sony and developer Firewalk Studios after the game director Ryan Ills stepped down from his position. Now, with the game reportedly taking 8 years to development, which I think has been debunked, it's been 6 years, right? 8 years from concept, 6 years of actual development time. Relaunch as a free-to-play title. That's the last time that the game was available for players to play for free. However, the game saw a peak of 2,388 players during the open beta. Now, there's been no comment from PlayStation or Firewalk about this, and the updates could be before. Now, what do you think? Concord's still getting updates on Steam. Here's what I think. I think that they had a plan to do stuff, and we were just talking about plans change all the time, right? Like, I want to build a deck on the back of my house. I don't have the money for that. So then we have to go, maybe we'll make a barbecue instead, right? Right? Just an example. Okay. I don't want an actual deck on the back of my house. Okay. But plans change all the time. they were going gung-ho, right? Remember, these companies love you. They love you. They think about you every day. They're like, how do we get this money from them, right? That's the only way they love you, right? These companies don't give two shits about you or me, or I should say you and I, okay? They only want to try to give you a product that you get the money from, okay? Now, before I even get to Concord, all these other companies out there like to release a game broke, buggy, and unfinished, and then they fix it over the next 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 3 years, and then the game is in working order. And then it's, oh, I'm having fun. It's a great experience, okay? Concord came out, yet another game that wasn't working correctly, wasn't very popular. They didn't like it, but they were trying to get as much money as possible. But they didn't hit that quota. So they went, you know what? We didn't sell that many. Let's just give the money back. Let's just give the money back, and let's do a reset, right? We would all love a reset for something. Like, you do something in your life, you're like, man, I would love a reset button, right? But we don't get that. They have that with this, okay? I said a month and a half ago, that they would come out and they would relaunch it as a free-to-play. I also say that it's not going to fix the game. They have to fundamentally change what the game is, okay? What that is, I have no idea, okay? I'm not going to give that information out for free. Call me up. I'll give you consulting stuff, okay? But they need to fundamentally change the game. If you just come out and give us the same thing you just gave us, but free to play, it's going to fail. You need to fundamentally go back, change the character designs, completely revamp the whole entire character designs of all the characters, okay? You need to make it a free-to-play game, and then you also have to make it where it's not just a hero shooter. They had some tactics of stuff in there where they were going to make it a PvE kind of content where they were going to upload cinematics and whatnot. I would bank more on that. So at least you get those people that come in and go, oh, well, I'm here playing this, but we also get a little bit of story as well, okay? They're in competition now with Apex Legends and Overwatch and Marvel Rivals that'll be coming out, and a slew of other games, okay, that are all in competitive PvP. If it's a hero shooter or if it's just a battle royale, it doesn't matter, right? If I'm having more fun in a battle royale game, why am I going to go play your game? If I'm having more fun in Call of Duty, why am I going to go play your game? Okay, you are the new kid on the block. You have to make an entrance. You have to let us know why we should be playing your game. And if you can't make that because you have shitty character designs, shitty mechanics, and it's just kind of boring because it's the same thing as everything else, no one's going to care. So what happens when this game comes back? Because it is going to come back. Sony is going to come back with this. Do they just make it a free-to-play and go, that's it. We've done it. This is what everyone was asking for. Everyone was asking. All 25,000 people were asking for free-to-play. No. The 25,000 people paid $40 to get that game. Okay? Everybody else in the market was like, I ain't paying $40 for this. Okay? Show me what you got. And on top of that, the people that didn't pay the $40, because the people that paid the $40, less than 25,000 people, okay, loved it. They're like, oh yeah, the character designs are great. You are the minority. You are the minority of the people that were okay of getting what you got. And the majority of the people were like, we ain't buying this. We ain't giving you 1 cent. I'm not even giving you 1 minute of my time. I don't care. The 2,300 people that played it during the closed beta, or open beta, I'm sorry, were like, nah, there's other games out there that are better at free-to-play. That should be the thermometer. They should look at that and go, yeah, if we come out free-to-play, we're not going to get it. Great, you go from 25,000 maybe to 50,000 people that might play it. Maybe 100,000 might give it a shot, and then it'll die off as fast as it can, because at the end of the day, it's still the exact same game that they had. I think they hold off. Hopefully they don't come back out for at least another 6 months, right? So it's been gone for about a month. Wait another 5 to 6 months. I would wait even longer. This time next year, relaunch the game as a free-to-play game, but give us some reason to actually play it. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. What do you think of Concord? Do you think Concord comes back, unlike Anthem, because Anthem was going to get a 2.0 moment? Do you think Concord gets that 2.0 moment, and do you think they succeed? Or do you think they have that 2.0 moment and then just fail again? Because that would be worse than the first time, okay? If it comes back out and it fails yet again, where does Sony go from there? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Let me know what you guys think in the live chat. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe, and if you like what I do here, check out some of our other videos. Thanks for watching. What you guys are saying? Kraken's laughing. He's like, Concord. Eclipse says, I played the Frag Punt playtest. It's a fun game. I just don't like the CSGO type games. Yeah, but at least that game stands out. Now, I don't think it's going to be very successful, Eclipse. Frag Punk, I don't think it's going to be very successful. I just don't think there's that many people that want to play that many type of games. There's just too many. There's an oversaturation of these types of games that are coming out or already out. Okay, and there's just more being stacked on top of it. So I think it looks fun, and it has those card systems in there to kind of differentiate itself from other people or other games, I should say. But I don't think it's going to make it. It'll be another game that's like Bleeding Edge or what's another game that came out that comes, play, and then just, you know, out of sight, out of mind. Travis says, imagine if it comes back, it's nothing but hot chicks with water guns. Everyone just... yeah, it just comes back. It's got, like, the First Descendant type of girls in it. The blue hair people would be... They would be like, I can't believe you did this to the game. You broke it. They would lose their minds. They would lose their minds if there was hot chicks in there. Ray says, I can see Concord having a comeback if they change the curves of the assets. Right. Right. Papa says, I'm not an X-bot, just someone who sees a lot of information and can correlate it. Sarge says, if at that point anyone is at the chat thinks a game company cares about them, let them just ban you and get it over with. There's no hope for you. Sarge is like, give me a reason. Just give me a reason. Eclipse says that's because you don't like PlayStation. Doesn't make your Xbox. I don't like PlayStation because they're not consumer friendly like Apple. Papa says, Travis, you don't really know me. If you talk about on a daily basis, I only go after things that are stupid, poorly optimized, etc. Marvel Rivals is the only real hero shooter. I mean, there's Overwatch, there's Apex Legends. I mean, I know what you're saying. You're saying because those are actually superheroes and there's a hero as a hero shooter. But I was watching a video last night from a podcast from Think Media. They were interviewing a lawyer who was talking about how content creators can do whatever they want, right? Basically, and then they get away with it because she used the term goldfish, right? She said goldfish brain, right? They can do something bad, right? Like the stuff that's happening with Mr. Beast and Logan Paul and stuff like that. They can do something bad, and then within a couple of months, people forget about it, and they can do something bad again, and then people forget about it, and so on, because they have goldfish brain. We say that all the time. I laugh when she said it, because it's just like that. If it's a bad creator or someone that does something that's appalling to people, okay, and everyone's all in a tizzy about it, within weeks, they forget about it, right? That's the same exact thing that happens to video games that come out broke, buggy, and unfinished, right? A game that comes out broke, buggy, and unfinished, No Man's Sky, Cyberpunk, 2042, all of these games, right? Fallout 76, Starfield, Halo, whatever, okay? Redfall, Concord, all of these things, people forget real fast because then they start taking what they remember. They're like, well, No Man's Sky was bad, but it has a No Man's Sky moment. Now, everyone else has to have that No Man's Sky moment. Well, they should have never had that No Man's Sky moment. They should have released a product at launch. They should have completed it, right? No Man's Sky should have never been in the term of, well, maybe they'll have a No Man's Sky moment. If No Man's Sky just came out as a regular game, then we wouldn't have a No Man's Sky moment. We would just have No Man's Sky. Okay. 2042, right? Well, maybe they'll have a No Man's Sky moment. No, just come out with the game. Just make a game, sell a game, and that's what the game is. Okay. Come out with the game. I know it's crazy. Make a game, sell a game. Okay. If you just come out with the game, you won't have to have your moment. It doesn't have to have a 2-year, 3-year, oh, Cyberpunk is just so good now. Yeah, 3 years after it came out. So why am I going to buy it day one when I can wait 3 years? And then I have a game that's much better. It works. It's phenomenal, and it's cheaper. Okay? It makes no sense to buy these games and then give them money, and then everyone's like, well, I'm having fun. I'm having fun. It's great that you're having fun, but you have to acknowledge that with you having fun, there's still a product that is not complete. And anytime a person says they're having fun and that game comes out and then 6 months from now it's a better experience than it was on day one, that's the problem, right? That's the problem. Diablo 4, everyone's like, this is what Diablo 4 should have been with the Hatred of Vessel, all right? Well, that is 14 months after, or 15 months after the game came out, right? So is that a better game? Yes, it is a better game. Is that the game you should have paid for? No, but they hold it back. They give you a broke, buggy, unfinished game. They give you problems. They fix it, make the problem, sell a solution, and then you have a better game 14 months afterwards, 12 months afterwards, right? That is a problem, okay? So all of these games, Concord, Redfall, whatever, okay? All of these games are broke, buggy, unfinished, takes them 12 months, 18 months to fix, and I'm a broken record, but people forget about it, and this is why I repeat myself all the time, because that's what they want. Goldfish brain, right? Oh, this game was, well, let me see what this game is now. It was bad before, but let me check it out. Oh, still bad. Maybe they'll have a No Man's Sky moment, right? Maybe they'll have a No Man's Sky moment. They're not consumer friendly. I bought Space Marines 2, had it for 14 days. They gave me a refund. I bought another game, had it for a day. They wouldn't give me a refund because I downloaded it. And I have all digital PlayStation 5, so I have 2 for every game. World says, I think the move to free-to-play will help, but I don't think it can be saved. I agree. I don't think it can be saved. They have to fundamentally change what the game is, because the fundamental game, what it is not working, right? And I don't think Concord can get fixed because they change the characters. I don't think if you just change the characters to hot girls, all of a sudden that game is super successful. Because now the people are not dumb, okay? People are like, oh, so now you want to put hot girls in the game. Now you want to put attractive guys in the game. No, we know who you are. Have a nice day, right? Sarge says, wait, you guys think that they're going to spend over $250 million on a game and just flush it down the toilet? Did you? That game is coming out. Oh, yeah. No. They're going to relaunch Concord. But how are they going to pander to the people, right? Again, changing the characters to, like, the First Descendant type of characters, I don't think it's going to bring that game back. They got to fundamentally change what the game is. Sort of like what Fortnite did. See, Fortnite worked on a game for 7 to 8 years called Fortnite Save the World. Okay? It came out and it bombed in less than 3 months. Actually, it was like 3 weeks. Okay? It was so bad. Now, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good, but people, people didn't want a tower defense game like that. Okay? Now, Fortnite swapped and said, well, PUBG's using our Unreal Engine to make this Battle Royale game, and they fundamentally changed Fortnite. Now, it worked in their favor, right? They changed Fortnite from a PvE, save the world game where it's 4-player co-op game with tower defense to a 100-player Battle Royale building type of thing, and it fucking exploded, and that's history, right? That's history. Okay? But they changed the game fundamentally from the ground. Then they were like, well, this is what's making us the money. The Battle Royale is making us money. Let's still have Save the World. And they were using the Battle Royale to bring more people into Save the World, because you could use the skins and use the characters and use all the things, and you could use it into the Save the World. And they started pumping stuff in. And now they've completely changed what Fortnite is, because now it's got Legos and Rocket League and Fall Guys and Rock Band. It's got all of this stuff. They fundamentally changed what Fortnite was to the better. Now, can Concord do that? Probably not. right? It'll go to the wayside because they have to fundamentally change it. But what do they change it into, right? At the end of the day, it all depends on how much money they want to spend. How much do they want to do to make it so different that it doesn't even recognize what it was when it first came out? Travis says, Metaphor Dev just took a stab at another company and said, that, quote, "We are a dedicated team of 400. Maybe this is why we put a game instead of being 19,000 and can't do anything." I would have to read his actual quote. Is that what the quote says? "We are a dedicated team of 400. Maybe this is why we put a game out instead of being 19,000 and can't do anything." Well, that's shots across the bow to Ubisoft, huh? Okay. Just Hilly says, "Fixing a game over time does work in small doses. The trouble was most of the AAA games did it, and Goldfish Brain stops working on people. Stop pre-ordering. Just ask Ubisoft." Yeah, and that's a problem, right? Here's the thing. If you have 100 games and one game comes out and they kind of work it out over time and they fix it, cool, right? You're like, oh, it's not the norm. But the norm now, Haley, is that every game comes out broken, buggy. And when the one game that comes out that's not perfect, and I'm not saying perfect score-wise, I'm not saying Black Man's Wukong had some optimization problems, right? But it comes out, people love it, right? And everyone's like, oh my God, we're like amazed that a game can come out, just make a game, sell a game, right? We're just amazed by it. We're like, oh my God, that is the standard. That should not be the outlier. But now, in today's age, in 2024, the games that come out done are the outliers, right? That's the standard. The Elden Ring that came out is a standard. The Baldur's Gate 3 comes out, that's the standard. Not the outlier. Altern says, Concord can be saved by change character design, PvE mode, one PvP only mode, and works amazing and free to play. So you're saying just one game mode of PvP. Change the character designs. Put a PvE mode in there. So how do they make their money? Altern, what are they selling? Are they selling battle passes? Are they selling the season passes? Season passes, battle passes. Do they give the free-to-play, the PvE story content for free? Or is that DLC that they sell down the road? Yeah, Sarge, nobody talks about it except you and I. Fortnite, people shouldn't say the No Man's Sky moment. Fortnite shifted not 2 years, 3 months. They went from save the world after 7 to 8 years of development time to 3 months after launch into making Battle Royale into what it is, right? And now 2020, you look back and go, holy Christ. That is the greatest switch in gaming history, but no one talks about it. Because No Man's Sky has a No Man's Sky moment. Less than 3 months. Kuda Papa says 30. It's a bunch of hot girls spreading Concord grape jam, heavy boob physics like a JRPG and all. Would that bring everyone back? I don't even think that would bring back. Because at that point, Akuda Papa, they're just pandering to the people. They're like, oh, you see? You wanted the hot girls. There you go. And then when it doesn't sell, they'll be like, well, I guess it didn't sell. Right? That's what they would do. World says Save the World is still fun in my opinion. But the addition to Battle Royale was huge. Oh, Save the World. I love Save the World. I love the leveling process. I love the whole thing. I wish the maps were bigger, World. I wish that the map for Save the World was as big as the Battle Royale world. That wasn't across the nose, Mike. That was right up it. They're going after Ubisoft, huh? Well, it's easy to compile on top of someone that's already down. Kick them while they're down. What's going on, Sin? Right, Hilly? Hey, Baldur's Gate 3 comes out. Industry, don't expect this game again. Right. Don't expect us to make a complete game like this, you sons of bitches. What is this that you ask for? You want a complete game? It's that was the standard. The standard is complete. What's going on, Robert Jones? Alter says 30. Yeah, the Fortnite sell battle pass and skins, make characters free, so people are more inclined to buy skins and those new characters. Gotcha. I see the new Transformers game. J-Shock Blast was playing it. What new Transformers game? You talking about the racing car one, like the Mario Kart version thing, Nate? Sin says, y'all talking Concord reveal interesting. I don't know what they could do to erase the stink of the financial failure. I'm sure pouring even more money into it will do the trick. Yeah, we're just trying to figure out. They're talking about they're updating it, Sin, right? And I said a month ago, I said they didn't abandon it. I said they just put it off. But by the wording of their own thing, said that everyone's like, it's done, it's gone. And I'm like, their wording says that they're coming back. Now, obviously, as they're doing it, maybe they're like, you know what, this is not going to work, and they just cancel it. But right now, they're updating it. They're making changes. They're trying to figure out something to do with it because they've put money into it. Now, think about this. Sony didn't put $400 million into it. Okay, let's be clear here. Sony didn't put $400 million into it. There was money put into that game before it got bought by Sony. Sony put an additional $200 million or whatever into it. Okay, so when they put their money into it, they still have more money they could spend, right? Let's just say they have like another $150 million that they could put towards it and go, let's see where it ends. So the total of Concord, it could cost $550, $600 million at the end of it for Concord. But for Sony, it only cost them $300 million or $350 million. Is that worth it to them? It could be, because if they find the right strategic thing to put out, right, they can make that money super easily back, because now, instead of paying the $40 up front, now all they have to do is put it out there and make good content, right? Put a game out there, and Concord, I think when it comes out, is going to be everywhere. I wouldn't be surprised if not only is it on PC and PlayStation, but I wouldn't be surprised if they put it out on Xbox as well. Okay. Now, that's a long shot, but I feel that if they want to make their money, they want to put it out as many platforms as possible. Travis says, Diablo 4 last night was hilarious. The boss glitched out and deleted itself, and we were free loot. Thanks, Blizzard. Game working as intended, right, Travis? Roadkill says they need to change all the characters. They can't put the same game out, but the characters still get shit on. But even if they change the characters, Roadkill, I don't think it changes, because the mass majority of the population that was not playing Concord, okay, not the minority of the people that say, well, there's all these people out there. The majority of people are like, we're not interested in this game. If that's because of the $40 price tag, if that's because of the pandering, if that's because of the characters, if that's because of SB, whatever it was, the majority of the people didn't give it a shot, even look at it. They were like, no, I'm good. Them coming back out with that game, if they change and make the most smoking hot characters ever to be seen in video game history, even at that point, same game, just better looking characters, right? They're smoking hot, men and women, all along, right? They're just, you're like, oh, I've never seen something like this. That right there, people would go, no, I'm not playing this game, because you didn't want to put those in the game in the first place, and now because it failed, now you're going to put it in the game. No, sir, not going to buy your game. People are not going to buy it just because of the characters. It's got to fundamentally change what the game is to bring people in. Yeah, it's a Mario Kart game, Nate. That's what it is. It's a Mario Kart game. Ray says Xbox strategy to make Sea of Thieves successful was pouring more money on it. Sure, but you got to remember, Ray. I was a tester for Sea of Thieves 2 years before it came out. Right when it launched, I went, I can't believe they're launching it. I was like, there's nothing in the game. I thought they were going to add more stuff. Then they had a team, so the game launched, was successful. Then they launched the first expansion, the second expansion, the third expansion, and they had three teams or 4 teams working on it, and they were like leapfrogging each other. So like, the first team had like 2 months to work on it, and then this team had 3 months, and then this team had 4 months or whatever. So as the expansions came out, they were better and better because they had more time working on it. But then they changed the landscape of that. Now you look at Sea of Thieves, 5 years later, it's a much better game than it was at launch. Okay, they put money into it, but here's a fundamental thing. What does that game do that no other game does? Well, it gives you a playground as a pirate in an open world game. Nobody else is doing that. The other game that potentially could have done it, okay, it was either Black Flag back in the day, which is single player, or Skull and Bones that came out that changed 4 times and was delayed, and it was like 12-year development time, okay? Where it was supposed to launch the same time as Sea of Thieves, the same year as Sea of Thieves. Now, if Sea of Thieves and Skull and Bones came out the exact same time, and Skull and Bones was the exact same game as Sea of Thieves, I think Sea of Thieves would have lost to Skull and Bones because of the graphical stuff, okay? But now, Skull and Bones is 5 years after the fact of Sea of Thieves, and Sea of Thieves, there's no other game that Sea of Thieves is like. No other game. It does something so spectacular than any other thing. It gives you that playground experience. It literally gives you that playground experience of being a pirate in a sandbox world to do what you want, okay? No one does it. That's why Sea of Thieves is successful, because it's not like all the other games. But then they tried it. They tried to make it a battle royale. They try to do other things about it, and they're like, that's not what this game is, right? They were trying to chase the gold, per se, okay? But Sea of Thieves is successful because there's no other game out there like it. Sin says Sea of Thieves didn't suffer from near zero interest at the point it had taken off for the story either. Sure, right? But it literally is. You can play the game if you're just playing on Game Pass. I bought it when it came out. It was $40, $40, right? You gotta pay double that for Skull and Bones. It's a third of what the game is. Skull and Bones 5 years from now could be better, but it's not competing with Sea of Thieves as of right now. Altered says Concord should have done a Avengers, have a story missions with a set of characters, have semi-open area PvE modes and PvP mode. Oh, that's actually a pretty good idea, Altern, right? Hindsight 2020, as I say, right? Marvel's game, I forget who posted. I think Jay Shockblast posted something on Twitter this past weekend, or someone did, right? And it was just a picture of Captain America leveling like the screen to level up in Marvel's Avengers. And I was like, man, I missed that game. Like I missed that game. Like, if they made a game, like you just said, for Concord, where you set these brand new characters, cool-looking characters, and you have a thing like story missions, set characters, semi-open world type of stuff, I think you might have something there. If you make Concord more like a First Descendant Warframe, more than the PvP hero shooter type stuff, you might have something. Right, Eclipse? Sea of Thieves added the Pirates of the Caribbean stuff. They've added Monkey Island stuff. They could add so much to that game. They could do so much more. They could make it, if they really wanted to, they could make Sea of Thieves into a MMO, light MMO. Make it like a, if they want to evolve it, I should say, like a Fallout 76 type of game, right? Where you have a certain amount of people on a server, okay? You can have your house, build stuff, explore, right? They could do that with Sea of Thieves. I think that would be pretty interesting. Hell, even give you your own island, your own instance island, sort of like a Lost Ark type of thing. So as you're going on missions, and instead of just decorating your boat, you can now decorate a house or do something for those type of people that like that stuff, right? You could do that as well. Travis says, 5 years from now, Skull and Bones will be what Black Flag was in what 2015. Jesus. Yeah, Black Flag's coming back out. We don't know if it's gonna. They'll probably announce it at the Video Game Awards show. Jones says the closest thing to Sea of Thieves is probably Guns of Icarus, but that was PvP only, no loot. But even if it was the exact same game, Jones, that's 2 games, right? Not 15, 20 games, all the same type of thing. You know what I mean? Robert Jones says the lore map in Concord looked like originally had PvE content, and maybe that's what they're going back towards, right? Why make all those cutscenes and stuff? Why have what's that secret level? That video that's coming out later in the year from the TV show? Okay, why would you have all that stuff? Obviously, they had bigger plans for it. Ray says, I got the Avengers game before it got delisted. I quite enjoyed the story mode. The story mode was great. I said when it originally came out, Ray, I said, just for the story mode, it was like 15, 20 hours at the time before the expansions came out. I said, I thought it was worth the price point. I said Black Flag, not Black. I see what you did there. I said Black Flag. Yep. Altern says, yeah, sadly, the Sony wants to need to spend a lot of another $50 million minimum due to the changing of the game. As much cost a lot. So, Sony, I wouldn't spend that much. Let me read that again because I broke it up like an idiot. Yeah, sadly, if Sony needs to spend like another $50 million minimum due to the changing of the game, that is much cost. That much cost. A lot of it is on Sony. I wouldn't spend that much. Well, I like I said, I think they'll spend more money on it because I don't think they spent. Concord itself is probably going to be like $500-600 million at the end of the day. But I don't think they'll spend the majority of that, but I don't think they spent all of that. You know what I mean? So they're like, oh, we still have room to spend because they've invested a lot of money in the live service type of games. Eclipse says, it's funny that the anti-woke grifter said that they would be an Assassin's Creed Black Flag remake announced, but he was wrong about Shadows, right? Right, Eclipse. Right. Did Black Flag get a 7 from IGN? I don't know. Maybe. Let's look it up. Got an 8.5. 8.5. Go on, Krebsy. This is what they're thinking about in the back room, right? Altern. They're like, what about if we make Concord into a kart racer? Concord Valley, Concord Infinite, God of Concord, Concord Zero Dawn, Concord Breath of the Wild. They're like, what can we get? What can we get? All right, let's go to the next story. Moving right along. If you guys like what I do here, we just do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like what I do, we just cover news stories, give you my thoughts and opinions, have conversations with chat. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. We do appreciate you very much. Concord 64. There you go. All right, so Xbox will sell games directly in the Android app next month. Now, Microsoft isn't taking advantage of the U.S. court ruling that forces Google to crack open Android for the third-party stores. So Microsoft is planning to update the Xbox mobile app on Android to allow U.S. users to purchase and play Xbox games on their mobile devices next month. Following a U.S. court ruling earlier this week, forces Google to stop requiring Google Play billing for apps in Play Store in November 1st. Microsoft is ready to take advantage of this change. It says, quote, the court ruling is to open up Google's mobile store in the U.S. and will allow more choice and flexibility, says Xbox President Sarah Bond in the post of X. Our mission is to allow more players to play on more devices, so they're also thrilled to share that they're starting in November. Players will be able to play and purchase Xbox games directly from the Xbox app on Android. Okay. Google's Android App Store is legal monopoly and stretch giant has also been ordered to open up its Play Store to competition for 3 years. Okay, this means no longer forcing developers to use its own Google Play billing after a jury found that Google had illegally tied its payment system to its App Store. Google will also have to distribute rival third-party app stores within Google Play. Now, the Xbox purchase support directly in the mobile Android app will also allow Microsoft to sell Xbox games freely on Android devices. An integrate Xbox Cloud gaming feature means people will be able to immediately stream games to any of their handsets after purchasing them. This right here is huge. Okay, this right here is huge. Now, those of you can make fun of Xbox all you want, right? Those of you that can be like, yeah, Xbox has no games. Xbox doesn't know what they're doing. Xbox has no first-party title games. Xbox. But Xbox literally just got into the hands of billions of people, okay, doing absolutely nothing, not making a handheld device, okay, not doing anything of the sort. All they're doing is people that already have these things in their pockets, okay, can get one of these things, okay, and put that on their phones. I feel like the Dreamcast guy. We're talking about that, but get one of these things, okay, and then now you can play Xbox games. You can purchase it directly off your phone. You can play it directly off your phone, right? And any game now, okay, part of streaming, anything you buy, anything you purchase, you can now stream off the Xbox. If that is not telling you where the future is going, I don't know what is. I don't know what is. Everyone's like, oh, I don't want to play on a phone. Great, you don't have to play on a phone. But there are plenty of people. My 10-year-old son plays on mobile devices all the time. Okay? All the time. You and I, with bad eyesight and old, okay, with our crippling hands, we don't want to play on small things. But the kids, they don't care, right? They don't care, okay? So, separately, Microsoft is also working on a browser-based Xbox mobile store that originally planning to launch in July. The store will eventually focus on first-party mobile games from Microsoft various studios. But initially, it will also feature deals and in-game items. Microsoft said in August that its testing had begun on the web-based mobile store and also work in progress, and will be more share in the future with that, right? So, now they're making mobile stuff on the browsers, okay? Xbox has tossed the handbook of, are you a company that owns a console and trying to sell it to people? They're like, shh. They chuck that shit out the window, okay? And now they're just trying to get everywhere. Mobile phones, browsers, streaming, consoles, PCs. They don't care. They don't care. Or it's like, oh, the quality is going to go down. They're going to have more money, and that is what companies want at the end of the day. More money. Just think about all the broken, buggy, and unfinished games that could reach the billions of people now. Come on, Water Bear. Come on, Lucas. Lucas says they've been getting ready for the future of this all this time. Lucas, again, I know you're newer in my channel. We do a show on Thursday nights called Generation X Gaming. Those of you that never watched it, come watch it. Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern. Me and Sarge talk. We've been doing it for 10 years. 6 years ago, I said where Xbox is going with Game Pass and what the future is going to be. And everyone's like, never going to happen. Xbox will be dead by then. Okay. Right? Everybody's still stuck in this console war. And Xbox literally took themselves out of the console war, and people are still trying to make a console war happening. Right? It's a content war. A content war. No longer a console war, it's content war. Right? Who has more content? Water says, yeah, I can't play on small screens. Hell no. I know, you got like a 120-inch screen, or you play with your headset on. Can't you pretty much download anything on Androids? I don't know. I have an iPhone, so. Eclipse says the mobile is huge. China, Black Myth shows you how big the China market is. Yeah, they do everything. They do everything on mobile over there. Altern says, so I can buy Starfield, play it on my phone, on the PC, on the Xbox, on the VR, and no need to pay sub, since I will own it, right? What do you mean no sub? If you purchase, if you purchase, like if you're paying through Game Pass, then you would have to pay the monthly fee. But if you buy a game on Xbox, you can play it in all those places. Correct. Microsoft stole Stadia's plan for cloud gaming. I don't know if Microsoft stole Stadia's plans. I'm pretty sure Microsoft had the same plan, and Stadia came in to try to do it, but they don't have the infrastructure. You had to buy all your games again that you already owned. And that's another thing I said would fail, which it did. Jesse says it's possible running a 4K with the phones on Google Mobile Store. I have no idea. Maybe someone in chat can answer that, Jesse. I'm not sure. Z says everyone's screaming about the PlayStation 5 Pro, the PlayStation 6. The young kids, that they are old enough to buy their own gear, will not be buying a PlayStation if they can play a ton of content somewhere else. Right. Well, think about this, right? The average person, right, is not going to buy a system for themselves and their kid and everything else, right? But a lot of parents already have and purchase cell phones. Okay. Now, the young people have cell phones, but they're not going to get, maybe for Christmas, maybe for their birthday, maybe mom and dad buy them a console or whatnot. But from the ages of whatever to whatever, it's like mid-teens, when they finally get their first job or they're mowing lawns and they start buying their own stuff after they save up a long time, they have phones handed to them because they need phones to communicate with their family when they're out and about and whatnot, right? So at that point, they already have those phones inside, already on their hands, right? So instead of trying to bring the people to the console, now you're just bringing the console to the people, right? And there is no console. It's just bringing the games to the actual people that already have the devices already that they own. That's a game changer. Well, that's for one of the game shows. Was the Golden Joystick Awards, right, Travis? We'll see what happens with the Video Game Award show. I forgot Keely's show name for a second. The Video Game Award show. Robert Jones says, what is happening here? I'm sure you can avoid using the Google Play Store on Android, which is why people prefer it over Apple. Well, now you can, right? Now it's they're making it a thing where they have to go around it, right? People before were probably jailbreaking their phones, I would assume, Jones, to get to do it. Now the average person can just download stuff and play it through the Google Play Store. You know what I'm saying? I believe you need Game Pass to play it on the cloud. You might be right. You might be right, but I think if you don't own, well, that's another thing. Can you just well, if I already own the system, then I can play it anywhere, I believe. I don't think you need to play on the cloud. Let me see how that works. We actually have another article here. Microsoft is planning to support streaming Xbox game libraries next month. Let's see if this talks about it. Microsoft is planning to support streaming Xbox game libraries next month. Sources familiar with Microsoft plans to tell Verge the company is getting ready to ability to stream games that you own that aren't part of existing Xbox Game Pass library. As part of a long-running project, Lapland, inside of Microsoft, the software giant is also being Xbox Cloud Gaming service to be able to support streaming thousands of games. I'm told that Microsoft will first test its new xCloud gaming streaming capabilities, Insiders, in November before expanding them to the Xbox users more games. The Xbox Cloud Gaming expansion comes the same month. Microsoft plans to enable the purchase of Xbox mobile app on Android in the U.S. Microsoft was able to this thanks to the court ruling. Xbox President Sarah Bombi read that. Microsoft has announced it would support your game library on xCloud or Xbox Cloud Gaming in 2022, but it never launched that year. Understand that it also worked between the complicated but having a prepared key infrastructure of thousands of games instead of hundreds of games currently existing on the Xbox Game Pass. While thousands of games would also soon be available through the xCloud Gaming, I'm told some publishers will also hold certain games back due to licensing requirements or deals. Microsoft is also working on a browser-based, so it doesn't say, it just says it's bringing it if I own it. I would think you're right, though. I would think you're right as far as you probably need Game Pass, which is obviously I have Game Pass, the ultimate one, because of my son and whatnot. So I'll be able to play it. But yeah, I think you're right. I think you have to have some sort of Game Pass level, whichever that is, right? And that would make sense because they want you to come into their ecosystem. Juby the Villo says artificial intelligence is changing everything, and could see game development workers being desperate to force their purpose. I can see games like Dreams of Fortnite, but crazier. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, you can see it now. There's people that are making YouTube videos, right? And I know it has nothing to do with video games, but there's people making YouTube videos now that all AI generated. So just yesterday or 2 days ago, Star Wars Theory, unmonetized, he created something in AI. Now, I don't know if he did it himself or he hired someone to do it, but it was a 2.5 minute, 3 minute short of Obi-Wan Kenobi talking to Rex. Okay, Rex or Cody, I forget which one it was. I didn't watch it yet, but I saw a picture. Right, I think it's Rex. Oh no, it's Cody. It's Cody. Right, and it's all AI generated. And then he's got his voiceover, I think, going over it, right? And that is all AI, right? We watched last week, the guy who was doing the hillbilly Star Wars, right? AI-generated stuff, telling stories. Now, this is the worst it's going to be today, okay? Now, with video games, same exact thing. When Unreal Engine showed their thing last year, talking about procedurally generated maps and whatnot it can create, anyone, you and I, can start creating games. It's in a landscape that's never been done before, where anybody can pick it up and make stuff and make a game within a game, make your own game, whatever it is. It's crazy. So you're going to see a lot more smaller studios. You're going to see a lot of bad faith people like the fantastic developers that made the day before. Okay. You're going to see a lot of people trying to take advantage, just like anything else out there, that trying to get people's money out of their pockets, making something that looks cool, but really is just, there's no substance there. AI is going to be good, but it's also going to be terrible at the same time. Yeah, you said it, players becoming developers of the games without needing to learn. Yeah, which is good and also bad. Ron Slusher says Microsoft is basically a sleeping giant about to wreck shop. World says my kids all ask for Switch. How old? If you don't mind me asking, how old in age range of are your kids? We're at this point now, Jones, ourselves, that my kid's 10, and there's times they're like, get him a phone, because my nephew just got a phone. And I don't like it. I don't like it. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of stuff going on where right now he's got an iPad, but it's like locked down, right? Just because there's just so much shit out there. Like, I don't need my 10-year-old kid looking up something and then being scarred for the rest of his life because he sees a shooting happen or someone get murdered. You know what I mean? I just don't need to see that, right? And that's popping up everywhere. Well, my kid's probably not going to get a cell phone until probably 12 or 13, right? Because by that time, his friends probably already told him a bunch of shit and whatnot, you know? But it doesn't really matter because all it takes is one kid with their parents breaking that, and then he has a cell phone, and then they all huddle around the cell phone. Hey, watch this, and it's over, right? Lucas says, I agree. Console wars is lame for me, especially when all three are doing different things. I've said this same exact thing. They used to be all on the same island, right? I use this analogy. They used to all be on the same island. Consoles making games. But then Nintendo left that island a couple years ago when they made the Switch, okay? And they're on their own island, right? And then PlayStation and Xbox were on their island. And then Xbox is like, we're getting off the island. We're going to go over here and make Game Pass, and they're off on their own island. Now, PlayStation's on their own island. Xbox is on their own island. Nintendo's on their own island. But now they're all trying to compete. Meanwhile, Nintendo doesn't need to compete because they're like, oh, we're just over here making our own thing. Xbox is like, we see the future, we're going in this direction. And PlayStation's like, I need someone to compete with. We need someone to compete with, right? Akuta Papa says, 30, Game Pass started in 2017. xCloud gaming originated in 2016 internally at Microsoft. Tests in 2019. Stadia came out in 2019. You had to buy games and performance worse than other options. Yeah, it was a stupid business model for Stadia. Ron says, console market is capped at 200 million players. I would say like 250, right? Microsoft is basically lifting the cap in infinite amounts of players, right? Welcome on board. Get on board, Ron. Been saying that for years, right? Been saying that for years. You could sideload whatever apps without jailbreaking. It's basically a PC. So then why is it, Jones, that Google lose this case and now they have to open it up to third party? Right? So obviously a majority of the population was using the Google Play. Right? Because they didn't want to go into the outside sources or whatnot because it's just too confusing for people. So now they took them to court. So now that everyone that uses the Google Play, it's easier for them to get it. Akuta Papa says, yes, Play Anywhere works if you buy it via the Xbox Microsoft Store. Okay, there you go. Ray says the remote play doesn't work on OG or 360 games. Maybe that'll change, though, right? Maybe that'll change. Altern says, but if you need to buy a game and then buy Game Pass, isn't that Stadia all over again? No, because one's a service and one wasn't a service, right? So if you buy the game and which they said now you can play on remote play, okay? And then Game Pass is a service, which is adding a whole bunch of other stuff. Stadia was just a console, and you had to purchase the game and to play it, right? You had to buy the game again. So even if I owned an Assassin's Creed game, right, I had to buy it again on Stadia just to play it on Stadia. Which is different than what Luna's doing now. Amazon Luna is basically Stadia, but you're renting like Game Pass and not owning like you did for Stadia. Buddha Papa says, Play Anywhere doesn't work if you buy on Steam. Thank you very much for the $2 super chat. Appreciate that. Lucas says, my main problem with Microsoft is that they sold the Series SX without another vision. And it also feels like they changed it mid-gen. Sorry for the late reply. No, you're good. Well, they did. They did. And this is why we're kind of pissed, because it came out later date that the S was supposed to be the console to go up against the PlayStation 5. And the X was supposed to be the mid-gen upgrade. But instead, they put the mid-gen upgrade and the S out at the same time, which caused problems behind the scenes, which a lot of people don't realize, but it is what it is, right? Because they had to make it they have to make it with the parity thing. Up until Baldur's Gate 3 came out, they took off the parity stuff. Now, I don't know if it's a case-by-case scenario, but the link for the article, Jones, is down below. It should be. This one is in the link description down below. All the articles that we've gone over so far are in the description down below. All our articles we ever do are always in the description down below. Altered says, so people can buy the new Call of Duty, play it on their phone, buy the micros, continue playing on their phone, then go to their PC, and then go back to their phone in work. We're fucked. Eclipse says, but most people are normies, Jones. They don't go and try to find stuff on the internet. Like, right. The majority of the people go to the store, and that's the issue. Well, Steam has just changed their stuff just recently. They're doing the whole California thing where we talked about that 2 weeks ago. The California law that put that you actually don't own it anymore. It's a license. Steam is changing the thing now. So people on Steam technically don't own their license, right? You're just paying for the license. Altern says, by the way, you can now play some PC games on Android thanks to emulators. Wind Lantern. Sure, I like the PlayStation 3 era. And also below, still play some PC games on Android. Look, it's going to get blurred, right? We said this when Genshin Impact came out, 3 years ago? I said, Genshin Impact coming out, people don't look at this, but that's blurring the lines between mobile games and console games. And it's just going to get more and more of that. And we see that now. Kuda Papa says, they should have fucking been saying that since day one. All right, I want to watch the Thrones and Liberty video here. I've been playing a lot of Thrones of Liberty. Before we get to that, I want to talk about my issue with Starship Troopers extermination. Okay? Now, I purchased the Starship Troopers Extermination last year. Early access. I enjoyed it on PC. Enjoyed it very much on PC. Okay. Played it. It had its issues, but I knew it was an early access, right? But now, Starship Troopers Extermination came out on console. Okay? Came out on console. Now, I didn't pay for it on console. The company I reached out to, and they gave me a code. They gave Sarge a code so we could play together. Okay? We were going to play this week to play the game. Okay? We still might. But I tried playing this weekend. Okay? And it was unplayable. I tried on, was it Friday night? Okay? Unplayable. I played through the entire mission, and right before we were supposed to leave, the game crashed. Okay? So I didn't get any level up. Okay? Because it gives you all your leveling up stuff at the end of the game instead of during the actual game. Okay? So it didn't save anything. Okay? So then I went into another match. Okay? Played the game, a couple minutes, and then it fucking crashed again. Okay? And I was like, what the fuck's happening? Right? And I'm playing on the Xbox Series X, by the way. Okay? Now, I played it 3 more times, and the only way I could level up to go up to the next level and unlock guns was playing the solo mission. The solo missions are pretty straightforward. They look dated inside the tunnel system. Okay? It looks bad in the tunnel systems in the solo play. The gunplay feels good, but then it also feels shitty at the same time. Okay? I don't know how to describe it to you. Okay? When it works, it feels good, but it doesn't work that often. So here's a company that made, just 2024, make a game, sell a game. Instead, they brought the game out, and it's broke, buggy, and unfinished. I literally put a tweet out the other day. I don't even know if they... Let me see what I said. I don't think they replied. Okay? And I replied directly to them. Let's see. Yeah. Hey, Trooper. Right? At them. I have a question. Why does the game keep crashing on console? And is there a patch coming ASAP? Because it's unplayable. Thanks. No response. And nobody's seen the tweet. Okay? Nobody's seen it. Okay? I literally tagged them in there asking a question and reply. No reply. Nothing on their actual site itself. Okay? As of last time I checked it, let's see. 20 hours ago, they're talking about they're promoting the game. Right? 20 hours ago, they're promoting the game. Service guaranteed citizenship. 21 hours. They're pushing more swag and whatnot. Okay. On October 12th, what's today? The 14th. 2 days ago, Starship Troopers living roadmap. Okay. October 12th, the same day. More attention, all troops just promoting the game. Okay. More people on October 12th pushing the game. Pushing the game. Pushing the game. Pushing the game. Nothing about crashes. So, am I the only one? Am I the only one that it crashed for? I know that answer. I know that answer because I'm not. Okay. Yeah, the field of view is terrible. It's like so closed in. Okay, so much so that when you put the gun up in the air, it literally blocks what you're seeing. Okay. Right. This pisses me off so much. Okay. But we'll get someone to come in. Oh, I played it 30. Having fun. Great. Have fun. Okay? Have fun. I didn't even pay for the game. I want my money back. Okay? I didn't even pay for the game and I want my money back. Okay? Because I wanted to play it online because I played it on PC. Enjoyed it on PC. We had a blast on PC. Comes to console and it's like, the hell are we doing? Like, what is this? Right? And yet, they just keep pushing it, promoting it. Not to say, hey, we have problems 2 days ago. Roadkill says, 30, you'll be proud. I fought every urge to buy the game, and I didn't. Roadkill? Good. Good. See, I didn't purchase it. I wanted to get a copy of it on console to show you guys. We were going to play it tonight. And I was going to show you, hey, this is what it is. Right? But I cannot get through one mission. I have yet to extract, okay? Because the game keeps crashing. It's filled with bugs. And not the ones you shoot. Krebsy says, someone building something, and you get trapped. AI doesn't know how to follow you. The bugs are almost as dumb as Redfall. Guns reloading, they're jamming. It's like 3 seconds crashing. Yeah, it's absolutely terrible. And it's infuriating. It's infuriating for the customers that purchase this, right? Different bugs. Yeah, different bugs, Ron. Okay? It's infuriating, right? It's like I'm a fucking broken record. Every fucking day I come on here. The next game comes out, and we're like, hey, how's it going? Broke, buggy, unfinished. But I'm having fun. Having fun. And then when a game comes out in somewhat decent form, we're like, this is amazing. This is amazing. I got to play the game. It didn't crash. Woo! Woo, it didn't crash. It doesn't have microtransactions. It's a complete single-player game. Amazing. Oh, here's another thing. Me and Sarge try to get into a group together. And here's another bad part about it. So we entered the game together. I got kicked. Now I want to join back in, but I can't. So I got to start another game. Then he's got to back out of his game. And then he can't join my game. It's like, what are we doing, folks? What are we doing? Every single time. How hard is it? I could start a business on how to make a game. Before the game gets launched, they have to bring their game to us. And we're like, this is what you have to have in your PvP multiplayer game when you play with people. It should be drop in, drop out. Okay, I should be able to join in on someone, but this is how they work. They're like, well, if we make it drop in, drop out, you could join a game right before it ends, and then you wouldn't get you would get all the credit, and then oh no! Let's say I join a game 10 seconds before it ends. Okay, I get the 250 points for whatever for completing the game, but I get no other experience. Okay, another bad thing about Starship Troopers is Starship Troopers, as I'm shooting things and killing things, I should be getting XP. It should be saving as I go. That way, if I do get kicked out because you don't want to fix your game, okay, that it's not a complete and utter waste of my time, because I love putting a half hour into a game and then crashing and then going, oh, what level am I? Oh, I'm at the exact same level I was before the half an hour. Okay? It's so infuriating. Respect the player's time. You got a co-op game, you got a PvP game, you got a multiplayer game, make sure that works. Then once you're in the game, respect the player's time. Do I get XP during the actual gameplay, or do I get it at the end of the gameplay? Well, if I get it at the end of the gameplay, you better make sure your game is stable, because if I crash, you're wasting my time. If you waste my time, you're wasting my money. If you're wasting my money, fuck you. And again, I didn't spend my money, okay? Because they gave me a code, but I bought it on PC last year. Travis says, do you think it's because the culture is so different and is why Japan tells better stories? Like, this is because they aren't taking it by stupid politics? I don't know if they tell better stories. I think people are interested in their stories because their stories are different than what's over here. Over here, our stories are pretty much like real life, but just told in a game, where theirs are like fantasy. Those are, they tell stories, you know what I mean? But I'm not a big JRPG guy, you know what I mean, Travis? So I don't really watch or listen to those stories. Akuta Papa says we're talking about literal bugs or software bugs. Hey, I watched someone say, having a blast, Helldivers has got its competition. I went, oh, Lord. I was like, it does not. It does not. Clip says, yeah, the PC, I haven't had trouble. But it was also in early access on PC for a while. Yeah, 1 year. Over a year, I think. It'll tell me that the server is full when I try to join a quick match. But I just keep trying to get in, and eventually I get in. And then crash 3 seconds later, because that's what happens to me. Eclipse says, I played the demo. It's talking about racism. What are you talking about? What demo? What demo, Eclipse? The executive said ship it. That's it. They're like, it's out. Ship it. It's so frustrating, man. They're like, we gotta hit our date. Been 1 year. We said 1 year after the game comes out, we're gonna ship it. We shipped it. All right, let's watch this, and this'll probably take us to the end of the show. Okay, we're gonna watch Thrones of Liberty. We're playing Thrones of Liberty. And I'm liking Thrones of Liberty, right? I didn't like it in the beginning. Then I liked it. Then I didn't like it. But then I like it again, okay? Because now I have a build, right? I'm playing just through the story. I'm not to the point where I'm like, I need to pay for stuff, right? I get that it's pay to skip. I don't know if it's pay to win. But then again, I'm not doing any kind of PvP stuff. So we're going to watch a video from SkillUp. It's by, not SkillUp himself, but by Austin. Austin is a pretty, he says he's pretty mixed on Thrones and Liberty review. So let's watch this. Let me if you guys like what I do here, we watch videos, we read articles, we have conversations with chat, live chat. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as low as $5. Mickey019 says, I'm playing it right now on PlayStation 5. Other than some frame drop issues, it's been a pretty solid experience. I'm sorry other console players have been having so many issues. My problem is, Mickey, is that they have yet to acknowledge, okay? They have yet to acknowledge any of the issues that people are having, okay? And that's the issue, right? There's a lot of just issues. The field of view needs to change. The matchmaking and the dropping out of stuff needs to change as well. The XP in the game, where if you do get kicked, you lose all of your progression, basically, right? So at the end of the match, so you're getting XP. At the end, it tallies it all, and that's when it gives it to you. If you mess up, if you get disconnected or anything, you lose all that time. All right, let's watch this. Let me make this a little louder for you guys.
Earbuds. It's the biggest refresh of Raycons in years, adding new features like active noise cancelling and multi-device connect, all while remaining at Raycon's famously around to the end.
There's another
20% off SkillUp. There you go.
Right, so we've covered Guild Wars 2, we've covered World of Warcraft, but there's another MMO worth talking about this release season, and that is Throne and Liberty.
Oh, this is SkillUp. Is SkillUp? Why does it say Austin is pretty mixed on it?
Man, do I have
thoughts I guess it's not
about
him.
this game. To give some context, I went into this with astronomically low expectations. I mean, this is an MMO that began its life as a mobile game, to the point that early betas still contained an autoplay feature when it was ported over to PC. It's also developed by NCSoft, who are known for their kind of pay-to-win heavy MMOs.
Now, I didn't know this was an MMO. Altern told me it was an MMO, right? It was a MMO originally on a mobile phone. And now it's on consoles, right?
Like Lineage and Aeon, and it's published by Amazon, who also don't have the best track record. Put simply, I fully expected this to be a complete dumpster fire at launch, particularly after just coming off the back of two of the most popular MMOs with their recent expansions, both of which I thoroughly enjoyed. To my utter surprise, somehow, against all odds, Throne and Liberty is not a complete disaster. This is over.
Yeah, but I think it's his voice, because it sounds like it's either Austin's voice or SkillUp's sick, because his voice doesn't sound right.
overall a competent MMORPG, but only just barely, as there are caveats attached to just about every single one of its components. For example, the leveling experience is actually a pretty good time on account of some varied quest design, hidden puzzles, and a super populated world, the likes of which most MMOs don't really achieve these days. But the narrative that pulls you through it is about as dry as you might.
Yeah, the story so far is okay. I wouldn't like give it an award or anything like that.
Expect. The combat is
Austin's his
flashy
editor.
and mechanically engaging, but still has a number of pain points that can make it feel cumbersome. The buildcraft is remarkably deep, but also feels rather bloated and difficult to experiment with.
It's very difficult to experiment with. I actually spent so I screwed up. I didn't realize this until afterwards, right? So I had a piece of gear that was maxed, a green piece of gear maxed to level 6, okay? And then when I put it into my first blue piece of gear, that went to 3. But then I went and upgraded another piece of gear with my green piece into the blue piece, and it wasn't maxed out. So now it's blue 1 or 1.5 or whatever it is. And now to upgrade that, it's going to take me a lot more resources because now I'm not putting it into the green. Green's less, so it takes less money and less resources. But now the blue is going to take more resources. So I kind of hurt myself. So now I got to grind more to get this other mats, which I was like, this is stupid. But it is what it is. Lesson learned.
On account of the upgrade system. The endgame content is fun to play, but it's completely hamstrung by the nonsensical way in which itemization is handled, and those pay-to-win elements aren't as egregious as I expected, but monetization on the whole is seriously taking the piss. But, there's a lot of buts to this one, so everyone's experience with it is going to vary wildly, depending on what you can and can't tolerate. I can honestly say I've had a fun time with the 40 or so hours I've played of Throne and Liberty, and for a free-to-play game, that's unarguably a good value proposition. So on that basis, I would recommend checking this out. But
Yeah, I'm enjoying it myself, right? I have about 30 hours in it, I believe.
Next big MMO to commit yourself to, I'm not so sure.
That's where I'm at as well. I don't know if I want to dive into it like the next MMO.
Throne and Liberty begins where all MMOs do, character creation. Like seemingly all Korean-made MMOs, this one delivers on that front.
Character
all the
creation's
sliders, colors, body art, and hairstyles to finesse to your liking. You're then launched into the story, and as far as that goes, look, I won't harp on about it too long, because unsurprisingly, it is the least interesting part about this whole package. To put it in Lord of the Rings terms, imagine Sauron looking for the One Ring, except the One Ring shattered, and its essence now lives on within a subset of humans, you included. Sauron is now kidnapping said humans to sap that essence from them, with the hopes that one day he'll reclaim the full power of the One Ring.
If Concord had characters like that, they might be okay.
To be frank, that broader plot is almost exactly what I expected. It's poorly written, with
I don't understand these characters, like these little emotes, whatever they're called. They can just take those out of the game or make them better looking. Like, I hate that they're dolls. Personally, but hey, I know not everything's for me.
with voice performances ranging from decent to awful, overflowing with technobabble and new character names flying at you every 2 minutes, and all leading up to an anticlimactic ending to set up future content. What I will give Throne and Liberty points for is the story presentation. This isn't your typical text blocks or canned animations. You actually got fully animated cutscenes on the regular, including your character, often the kind you'd only see in single-player RPGs. I also liked that whether or not you skip the cutscenes, you've got this narrator who summarizes what's happened.
Yeah, I kind of actually like the narrator. There's this little narrator that comes in and like recaps what you just did,
which did a good job at keeping me in the loop and also made this feel like a D&D adventure, particularly with how suspiciously similar she sounds to the Baldur's Gate 3 DM.
The Thonos orcs were trying to gain more strength to fight the Arkidu orcs by staging a festival of fire.
Thing is, the golden
it almost sounds... Isn't there a narrator like that in Baldur's Gate 3?
path actually barely connects to this main plot, outside of introducing you to the key characters that haphazardly come together at the end. While that results in the story being hilariously devoid of any build-up, the various side tangents that make up the bulk of the campaign did actually manage to pique my interest at
Come on,
times.
Ghost Fixer.
One chapter, for example, had me dealing with a deranged doctor who I found out was drugging patients and taking them to his cellar, because it turns out he's a vampire.
Dun, dun, dun. Vampire.
I was then sent to some far-off tomb where I'd reawakened the spirit of a long-dead vampire slayer, and upon proving myself worthy through a set of trials, was able to transform into him on command. Not just for this quest,
Yeah, it's cool. I can do that now. I can transform him.
by the way, but as a permanent new combat ability. There was a chapter dealing with a dwarf bard who forgot how to summon golems or something, and I needed to find a way to jog his memory.
I did this one as
There was
well.
another one where I hatched a plan to blow up a Dune-style sandworm. What does any of this have to do with the main plot? Like I said, absolutely nothing. But I appreciated the variety that came from straying away from that self-serious A-plot. That same variety is also present in the overall open world experience. Quests aren't always the
Yeah, but you don't have to. You don't have to have all the things. Like, there's side quests and stuff. I don't agree with that. Like, yeah, that those missions have nothing to do with it, but it's okay. Like, they're just other side quests, side missions to do.
expected fetch and collect. I liked that sometimes I needed to think a little critically. There was one where I had to grab some poisoned flowers, and among a crowd of players killing these living plant enemies in the hopes that they drop the flower, I realized that they were actually firing out poisonous projectiles that needed to land on the nearby flowers to turn them into the quest item. There was another time I needed to get a golem heart from an auction, but I could only go off the description of each auction item, so needed to listen carefully to make sure I bid for the right item.
I've never seen anything like this before. It's definitely a must-have for any golem enthusiast.
Between story quests, side quests, platforming challenges, hidden portals that would send me to
God, platforming. I quit. I'm done. I'm not gonna play it up to that point.
memory puzzles or riddles, events where
platformer.
players are competing for the most kills, world bosses, credit where credit is due. The activities that you come across in the open world are surprisingly diverse and engaging, even if parts of it are a little rough around the edges, like traversal, for example, which doesn't feel great. A key reason I enjoyed the leveling experience so much was because of how immersed I felt in this world, and that's something I personally really value but rarely get from modern MMORPGs. In fact, the only one in recent memory that did this for me was New World. Part of how Throne in Liberty achieves this is in the visuals. This is built in
So, when I'm playing this game, okay, it makes me want to play New World. You know what I mean? Like, this is Throne and Liberty, Ghost Fixer. When I'm playing Throne and Liberty, okay, it makes me want to go play New World for some reason.
Unreal Engine 4, an engine that's very good at making beautiful natural landscapes.
And I think it's because I know this is a free-to-play game and it works really well. I had a couple crashes with this as well, but it's a free-to-play game. Okay, and it works 10 times better than any other paid game for $60, $70. But when I play New World, you buy it and you know that's it. You can pay for more stuff, but this, it's like there's like an undertone of, I know that I'm going to get to a point where I got to pay instead of just earning.
With nice lighting. As such,
Because I'm not going to have the time to put in to earn.
the game does look quite good by MMO standards. The art direction is admittedly a little uninspired with its familiar European castles and demonic ruins, but I didn't mind that understated look. You might have noticed as well that mounts aren't really a thing in the traditional sense. Instead, you unlock morphs that let you instantly shapeshift into animals for travel, which I think is a neat twist on the usual formula. Far more impressive, though, is the technical side. When you're soaring down from a mountaintop, it's easy to appreciate that wild draw distance,
it looks
allowing you
fantastic.
to see just how far you've come. Then there's the player density. Right away, you'll notice that the world is just packed with players, not just in
You know what's bad in this? So I finally did a dungeon. The dungeon took so long to get into. I was sitting here for 6.5 minutes to try to get into a dungeon. Okay? Matchmaking is horrible.
major cities, but also in every minor town or open world event. And that does a lot to make this world feel alive. The game is also somehow able to manage this many players on screen without dragging down performance. Outside of the world bosses, where you've got literally hundreds of spell effects firing off from all directions. Granted, I'm playing on a very high-end rig, but I've
it's a lot faster at 50. Well, great. I'm trying to do the level 20 and 31 and I can't get in it.
Heard similar reports from those on mid-range hardware,
Let me hurry up and rush through the game that I can't play to get to 50 so I can play it.
which is cool to see. It's likely one of the few benefits of this game starting out as a mobile title. That optimization is also very keenly felt in how seamlessly you move between spaces. You'll enter buildings for story missions and the game will just load you into a solo instance without any loading screen. Sometimes this is even used to
I get a little hiccup every once in a while
mask a transition into a solo instance,
like
of the
right
open
there
world
it would do a
if the
hiccup.
story demands it. Then there's fast travel, which, I mean, here's what that looks like.
Yeah, the transition's fast. For teleporting?
As you can see, basically instantaneous, and that's the same for entering dungeons, PvP, anything really. So yeah, I mean, all of that is undeniably impressive, and something that very few other MMORPGs offer, if any. Immersion alone isn't enough to carry an MMO for me though. What I'm also after is a solid combat model and the progression to support it. So, does Throne and Liberty have that? Well, it's a mixed bag. So there's a lot of moving parts to combat. It starts with your weapon selection, because yeah, there's no classes in this game, at least in the traditional sense. You kind of build your own class, but...
Yeah, but when if you don't pick the class right away, then you're basically wasting those mats, right? So like you're pretty much stuck with what you got from the start.
Based on the two weapons you equip. There's a greatsword, longbow, daggers, staff, and more. All the typical fantasy weaponry, each with their own extensive suite of abilities that you can slot into your action bar. Something I'll loop back to in a second. Notably, while you can swap the weapon in your main hand, that only changes your auto attack, as the abilities slotted into your action bar can be used regardless of what's in your main hand. This was kind of weird to get used to at first. Typically, these kinds of MMOs will have you switching between weapon sets.
I was confused by this
abilities, and it'll kind of flip over your hotbar. And this breaks combat into manageable chunks, as you're only thinking about a limited number of abilities at any time. Even MMOs with traditional action bars will only have you cycling between like half a dozen abilities these days, with the rest of your abilities reserved for utility or burst windows. Playing Throne and Liberty as a DPS, man, maybe it's just the build I was playing, but having to keep track of like 12 or so abilities, most of which with pretty short cooldowns, with no global cooldown in between, it's a real challenge to say the least. Not saying it's a bad challenge, in fact that path to mastery is what kept combat so exciting, but I definitely found myself having to look at my action bar far more often than other MMOs, as muscle memory can only get you so far when you've got this much going.
Is he bow crossbow? That's his build?
The other aspect I struggled with a bit was responsiveness. Most of my abilities would fire out instantly and were easy enough to combo with others, but any with movement attached to them would kind of cause me to stop in place for a split second, which would sort of contradict the use of such an ability and causes combat overall to feel a little more clunky than it needs to be. That's especially true for melee. There's a reason I ended up picking two ranged weapons, because the melee abilities very often have some sort of animation lock associated with them, making them feel far less pleasant to use. Enemy telegraphs are also just not great, and having to keep an eye out for those underneath the visual clutter while being frequently stopped in place, it just didn't sound like a good time to me. You might think that I hate the combat then, but it does have its redeeming qualities. Abilities are flashy, but not...
I think they've done a really good job. I mean, you can see it in his footage, like just the different effects and different stuff. Like the combat feels good once you know what the hell you're doing. I'll be honest with you. Early on, I was like, the combat doesn't feel well. But I found a build. I'm a great sword, and I'm putting a bunch of combos together, and it feels really good. It feels really good once you understand what the hell's going on.
Overly so. It feels awesome to string together like 7 skills within a second, even if the animations don't blend very nicely. There's a parry system at play where a perfectly timed button press will completely nullify huge incoming damage and activate an ability depending on what weapon you parry with. Similarly, using crowd control abilities to knock enemies off cliffs or timing them to interrupt big enemy attacks is also quite satisfying. Honestly, I was impressed that NCSoft have managed to cobble together an actual, somewhat functioning combat system in a game that had autoplay just a year ago. And I did find myself...
Right, this game was supposed to be autoplay. This was supposed to be like a Black Desert Online type of stuff.
thoroughly enjoying it by the time I hit the end game. I found that the general difficulty of enemies really nicely complements the combat as well. They're not pushovers. In fact, I found myself on multiple occasions dying to small groups in the open world if I wasn't careful. Dungeons in particular are proper challenging, even at a baseline level. You're not able to steamroll through these, as even trash mobs have very hard-hitting abilities, and the final bosses often have mechanics that would typically be reserved for a raid or something. There's a sort of boss gauntlet tower climb that you can do solo that's equally
Yeah, there was a
challenging
tower that we did in Marvel Future Revolution, which is sort of like the same as here.
allowing you to test your personal skill and measure the impact of your upgrades. All of this demands the use of all of your tools: the parry, the grapple hook, your animal morphs, potions, and not just at the end game, but all throughout the leveling experience. It's all just enough to push combat over the line for me. The longevity of the combat system lies in
I was thinking about running Greatsword and Wand so I could heal myself.
the build craft,
But I haven't done
which
it
is
yet.
quite extensive.
I don't like the
At max
crossbows.
level, you'll have over 24 active abilities between your two weapons that you'll mix and match, with an equal number of passive abilities that you've also got to slot in. The cool part is that each active ability has their own modification tree to change how they operate. For example, I can make this flurry attack fire in a straight line, a cone, or an AoE around me. I can also make abilities grant specific buffs or debuffs that might enable new synergies between abilities. This stuff is also, thankfully, free to respec, and as such, I found the build craft endlessly fun to tinker with. However, the same cannot be said if you want to experiment with other weapon types.
Right.
If you want to try out a different weapon for any reason, you're going to run into some problems. First of all, if you equip another weapon, the abilities on your action bar will not switch out. You need to manually drag your new active and passive abilities onto your bar every time. Then there's the fact that those modification points
Well, they did make it a quick slot. You can swap the bars, but
that you used on those previous weapons don't get automatically redeemed. You'll need to manually go to that screen, refund the points from the weapon abilities you no longer have access to, and then spend them elsewhere. By far, the biggest pain point, though, is the upgrade system.
Yeah,
How this works
I
is
agree.
that all your weapons, accessories, armor, and skills can be leveled up through these specific upgrade books with varying ranks. The amount of XP they grant ranges between 25 and 80%, completely up to chance, as denoted at the bottom. The problem is that while these upgrade books are handed out like candy during the story, once you've finished that, you'll find that this falls off a cliff. Once you've used up all your big one-time sources, they become a very scarce resource.
can I make a second character and drop stuff off in a shared chest? Like if I make a new character and level up, can I trade with myself or no?
Particularly the higher rank ones that are needed to max out your gear and abilities. There are items that can transfer those levels, and a bunch of them are being handed out for free at the moment, but of course, once that grace period ends, you'll be reliant on MTX, which we'll come back to. So this makes
Wait, what was that?
ones that are needed to max out your gear and abilities. There are items that can transfer those levels, and a bunch of them are being handed out for free at the moment, but of course, once that grace period ends, you'll be reliant on MTX,
There you
which
go.
we'll come back to. So this makes experimenting with different weapon combinations, or even abilities for the weapons you do use, unnecessarily punishing. If you're not interested in competing at the high end, then maybe this isn't a problem for you, but yeah, I still think it's troubling that you can completely screw yourself over if you haven't been following some sort of leveling guide from the jump. What's really, truly cooked, though, is the itemization in this game, and how it completely hamstrings the endgame loop, far more than it ought to. It's both poorly thought out and poorly communicated. I had to do a fair amount of digging
Billy says, all the information I needed. Yeah.
to wrap my head around how gear acquisition works. So at the start of your journey, you're shown that crafting is a big part of gearing. It's simple enough. You need a generic schematic of the same rarity as the item, a few materials, and boom, you've got your gear. You earn those schematics through daily contracts and side quests. Simple enough. But that's only how it works for the lowest tier, because once you go above that, you now need that item's specific schematic. The only way to get those is to actually loot the item first, then imprint it onto a schematic, which at that point, I guess is only useful.
Wait a minute. I don't even think I've gotten to this point yet. Wait a minute. I gotta rewind this.
lowest tier, because
Okay.
once you go above that, you now need that item's specific schematic. The only way to get those is to actually loot the item first, then imprint it onto a schematic, which at that point, I guess is only useful for crafting copies of that item. Right, so then how do you go on to loot items directly? Well, you've got a number of methods. One is to get them as a drop from specific mobs, but they're extremely rare, to the point that it's borderline impossible to get them that way. You can do weekly fetch quests in these open world dungeons, which is quite cool. These give you a random loot bag and a currency to buy gear, but it costs about 40 quests per item, which is over.
All right. Now